Thank you too for introducing me to Carmen, because that was absolutely fabulous. And one of the things that really hit me right from the get-go was that notion of, we're already doing this, and her positivity around the idea of the introduction of collaborative response being that foundation for let's review and revisit. What are we doing? How can we
And
do this better and more efficiently? And what is the ultimate impact we're actually having on student learning?
and I really liked how she shared the idea that we didn't introduce it once. We introduced in multiple steps, but in bite-sized portions, whether it was through a book study or we're going to try a meeting and go slow. And then as we get new staff, we're going to take a step back and revisit to build upon. Like I really love the intentionality of how we're bringing this to our staff team so that it's not overwhelming. We'll build upon it, but then we also intentionally want to take steps back to revisit, review, and use onboarding new staff as an opportunity to just further deepen our understanding.
You know what? She used that phrase convenient and purposeful. She used that phrase over a number of times. And I just think, so she has an absolute goal in that purposefulness, that she has true intention in what they're trying to achieve. But at the same time, the word convenient is a reflection of being aware of what staff can handle, how fast, how slow,
and then
how
adding
much
tweaks and revisions when they start to see gaps happening.
It's such a huge characteristic of an effective leader, is having that, I know where I'm going, I know where I want to get to and where I want to lead my staff, but at the same time understanding the circumstances that staff are under, and when is the time to move forward, when's the time to push, when's the time to back away.
Intentionality and timing.
Yeah.
And the how, right? What resonated with me was that notion of the leadership team, and how when they finally took it to the whole staff, that leadership team actually had teaching colleagues on it. And so it wasn't, like she said, it wasn't a top down, thou shalt do this. It really was the advocates for, we've been along here for the ride and learning about this, and man, this is going to transform how we do our jobs.
Well, and you heard throughout the intentionality around staff voice, and how do we involve our teachers, and how can we be listening when we have this single continuum across the school, but it's getting overwhelming. And our teachers are saying, what if we broke this down so that it was more effective for us? What if there was, like she mentioned, the K-5 version versus the 6-12? I think listening to staff and being able to, well, she said aim. Make aim adjustments as they go along.
And again, another characteristic of an effective leader, right, is really listening, that, effectively listening, and then attending to what's happening within the building. But
without losing the end goal.
Without losing that goal. And Jen, when I went out to visit with them for their school feedback, their leadership team that they have established, and yes, including teachers, is a really impactful group that is completely focused on how do we continue to improve, how do we keep moving this forward. And it was wonderful to see them as a leadership team actually, engaging in conversations with other teachers and talking about how do we get over this next hurdle, or how do we refine this next process. It's really powerful.
I think I also want to speak to the value that Light of Christ School and Carmen as the principal of that organization weren't engaging in this work alone. That divisional perspective that they took at Lakeland, that it was 9 schools, during COVID when they had an online school as a separate entity, and now back to 8 schools. But those 8 schools were all walking alongside one another with intentional system level direction and support coming in. So there was never that feeling of Light of Christ School is an island. It's how can I learn from colleagues? And it's been remarkable over those 3 years that she's talked about, that what they're trying to do in their schools is building high levels of vulnerability and collaboration and trust. That was happening at the leadership level as well, when schools could come together and say, we haven't figured this out yet in our school, and another school could say, you know, we have some insights that might be able to help with that challenge because we experienced it as well. Here's something that we've done that has helped. I think that's really been important for each of their schools, including Light of Christ, in their move forward.
And I think that hits on the note that she said of the way that this has been implemented at the district level and at the school level has given people permission to do things that they might have been uncomfortable doing before, right? So as a school leader, I might have been uncomfortable saying, I don't quite have this figured out yet, but a safe space has been created and provided for them. You know, as a staff member around a table, I might have been uncomfortable redirecting a conversation that had gone off the rails, but no, that's my job here as the timekeeper to say, we've only got 2 minutes left. Can we shift back and try and find a solution? So the framework and the purposeful implementation of it at the various levels provides that psychological safety for people to grow and to build further efficacy and learn from one another.
Absolutely. All right, so we've reached that point, Jen, where we always turn to you to summarize. What are our key takeaways that we can pull from this conversation for our viewers and listeners?
So I'm going to start with ready, fire, aim. She mentioned that a number of times and we keep coming back to that. So don't wait till it's all perfect to implement it. Get started and use the feedback that you're gathering along the way from your staff as you're implementing and from your colleagues at the district level to help to continue to move that process forward. The second part really is about the purposefulness and the intentionality of the implementation. So follow the structure, follow the processes, because they are going to be what gives you the strength in the framework to continue moving forward. That notion of advocacy for the process so that it's not a top down. And so in this particular situation, Curtis, you talked about the district level, like the district is advocating through the use of the school leadership teams coming together. The school is advocating through the use of their teacher leadership team coming together. So that notion that we have people who are excited and have the opportunity to have learned. And then, I mean, I could go into all the various resources and ideas and whatnot, but I think those are the 3 big ones, unless there's anything I missed.
Nope, that was a great summary.
I think great summary. And again, really wonderful to be able to have that chance to tap into Carmen, her experiences, and the impact that collaborative response is having, not just for her students, but I think it was really interesting how the greatest successes with your question that you had asked, Lorna, really revolved around the impact and efforts of the staff team and what we're seeing through that, which again is a great lead indicator that we're going to see successes for students.
Well, and her excitement that, you know, was clear, her excitement about the things that are coming, that teachers are doing through this work, and just really seeing teachers just sharing ideas and growing and expanding, and how excited she was for that.
Again,
to
it
see
comes
that in
back
her
to that
building.
idea of how you create a culture of collaborative response.
Absolutely.
Not just we have some meetings that we've been told need to be aligned in this way. It's the utilization of the components and key elements of collaborative response that just impacts the entire culture and the way that we go about collaboratively responding.
As always, I'm the beneficiary of you bringing forth partners that you've worked with, and I get to revel in the fact that the work that you started, grassroots work decades ago, and the growth of it and the excitement that it still brings to people when they see those aha moments and they have those epiphanies of, oh, it's a little tweak here, but it makes such a big difference, right? That shift from one student conversations to, key issue conversations where we can impact all kinds of students. So thank you both for continuing to bring collaborative response to the forefront for people, because it really is changing the things that are happening for students in classrooms.
Well, thanks so much, Jen. And to all of our viewers and listeners, we hope you were able to take some key learnings away for yourselves as well from this conversation. We wish everyone the best.
Take care and see you soon.